What up, crew? It's your crew. Great, that went really well. It's Gentlemen Strangers time, which means haunted Victorian London, which is everyone's favourite kind of Victorian London, and possibly the only kind of Victorian London that ever actually existed, because it did manufacture misery as its primary export. I hope everyone's doing really well today. As you can see, we have a bit of a pared down crew once again, but hopefully, if things go well, Bree will be able to join us later. You'll probably understand why when we get into the game. Without too much further ado, just to talk about, did you know, yes, you did, that you can influence the outcome of this session, like all our sessions, with helps and hinders. The easiest way to do that is to hang out in the chat under crew trash bags. I think that still works. And if you do that, you can do minor helps and hinders. Make sure you let us know in the chat that you do that. I have no direct way of seeing that happen, and the players who can see it happen are often busy in a scene and don't want to break scene to tell that's happened. You can also pay us human currency for moderate, major, and indeed minor helps and hinders. The prices for which are below. Obviously, please be aware that hinders are precisely one penny more expensive. It helps us differentiate them afterwards, and it does help price out those nasty hinders. If it's a major, then it won't come up. I'm going out of focus. If it's a major, it won't come up today, but I will PM you on Discord or DM you on Twitter, and we can talk. We can make arrangements between ourselves. If it's a moderate, it'll have an effect, quite a big effect on the overall session today. Minors are usually redeemed on upcoming individual roles. But yeah, other than that, enjoy, hang out, chat. It's all great. It's all gravy. We are going to be here for the next 3 or 4 hours. So lock and load. We will begin on a late October evening. It's about the same time of year in game as it is in real life at the moment. And Mr. Spider, you have received a note. A raven has arrived from Casterly Rock. A raven has arrived from the Millennium Club. And you have received a note. You don't recognize the handwriting, but the note has the note, which normally consists of one single word, consists of 3: Aventine, urgent, watched. So naturally, you head to the Aventine at your earliest convenience. By coincidence, Mr. Hound has gone to the Aventine to mingle and drinks. This is a community that you are now, a part of, and it's good to get to know people. I think Hound, you what sort of networking? I mean, does Hound network, or does he just people watch?
I think it's a combination of the two. Because he's always like. It's the thing that I imagine we're going to see more of as time goes on, but like Hound's much more shrewd than he actually lets on. I think we saw it a lot in the first case that he was on that was broadcast. That he can put on affectations of other cultures, and he's probably doing a lot of that with the residents of the Aventine, particularly when there aren't any other strangers around. Because it's one thing to be the meathead of the group, but it's quite another to be that slovenly-looking one in the corner that seems to be dirtying the place up. So he actually probably does a lot of maintaining his reputation when people aren't around.
Okay, so I think you are at the bar refreshing your drink. And the door opens and you see Mr. Spider entering, looking, as Izzy is looking now, somewhat, not sure how to describe that, keen.
Intrigued, keen,
Intrigued.
thoughtful.
Yes. And you two sort of make eye contact at the bar.
I assume you got or sent the note.
No.
Right. Well then, that certainly is curious.
What did the note say?
He turns the note round so that you can see it before tucking it back into his coat.
Righto. He will gesture to the barman to bring some of Mr. Spider's regular affair of drink, and then kind of perch himself, and he starts doing a little bit more of a wary glance around.
Now I consider it, looking at the handwriting, I don't think it's anyone of our number.
It's the third word which is getting to me, if I'm honest.
Indeed.
At this point, the tall, broad figure of Mr. Edward Hyde appears. Ah, Mr. Spider, good to see you. You're here about Mr. Cutter, I assume.
Perhaps. Is this your doing?
No.
It seems that somebody is trying to get my attention.
Mr. Cutter, I believe.
Cutter. Should he not be here?
He was here earlier, came around to have a drink, and there were some men who came in, men belonging to McCreary's outfit. They were looking for someone who owed them some money. Anyway, they asked around, didn't seem to find who they were looking for, and left without incident. Not long after, Cutter came to me looking a little harassed and told me he'd be right back, and if not, to let you know, Mr. Spider, when you came.
How long ago was this?
Getting on for 2 hours now.
That changes the context of the note somewhat.
How long ago did I receive the note?
About an hour ago.
An hour since Cutter sent the note. The McCrearys, you say?
Unfortunately, yes.
Where was Cutter sat this time round? Usual spot?
At your usual spot, aye.
Alright. Mr. Spider, if I can leave you to go and ask some questions around the spot, get some direction.
Yes, if you would do what it is you do best. Sorry, what you do perhaps second best.
Right you are. He will do that suck into the teeth whistle, and probably loping from the fireplace of the Aventine will come Burke, and he will lead the dog to the corner, basically to start getting Mr. Cutter's scent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, you have the note. That's a pretty good start. So, is there some sort of roll that needs to be made here? I don't think so. I think
No.
the strength of the evidence is pretty good, and I think Burke, but Burke starts nudging in the direction of the door. Your usual seat, while recessed in a bit of an alcove, does have, well, half of it has a pretty good view of the entrance to the Aventine, so you can always keep an eye on the door. So it's a bit of a beeline.
I think now that Burke's primed, that if we have no other lead whatsoever but the direction that the dog can take us, unless we were to ask around for more information about who was here, what they looked like, an idea of the kind of people that might have ruffled Mr. Cutter's feathers, then we can power on. But I take Spider's lead on that front.
Mr. Spider.
Just for the sake of Spider's fizz wrap, I just want to get a sense of the timeline, but Spider doesn't have to keep asking about it. So, Cutter arrived at the Aventine about 2 hours ago.
We go into this sort of flashback mode where everything's kind of in freeze frame, a sort of like a Dishonored cutscene. Yes, Cutter arrives at the Aventine, has a couple of drinks. McCreary's boys arrive, start asking around. Someone owes McCreary a tax. They leave without any incident. Cutter, not long after, lets Mr. Hyde know where he's going and goes to question mark
Mm-hmm. Oh, the McCreary.
the Millennium Club.
Oh, sorry. I'm making notes while you're talking. I'm not
Oh, I see.
thinking.
I'm trying to help you connect the dots rather than connecting them for you. Goes to the Millennium Club, where he dispatches a note to Mr. Spider.
Oh, okay.
You know that he told Mr. Hyde what?
That if he was not back in...
So you now have some understanding of the area where Mr. Cutter was when he went missing.
So the McCreary boys arrive. Does Cutter talk to the McCrearys?
Sorry?
Did Cutter talk to the McCrearys?
Are you asking Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Well, they went around everyone. They were asking about, what was it? A train was robbed a couple of weeks ago. Big score, apparently. Everything that happens on the rails and canals around here belongs to McCreary, so someone owes McCreary a cut and hasn't paid it. Mr. McCreary does not take kindly to that.
Ah, quite. Something must have been urgent for him to act so rashly.
I didn't observe anything strange. I think the McCreary boys went over to Mr. Cutter, but...
And yet, Cutter knew that he was going somewhere dangerous. Enough to tell you and me.
I don't think... What,
Cutter was concerned that he would not be back.
Mm-hmm.
If it was simply a question that Cutter knew that he was going somewhere unsavory, he wouldn't let me know.
He told me he'd be back within about half an hour.
And yet... Why would he write to me unless he knew something was going down? Oh. You often merge yourself with unsavory types from time to time.
Can't help who comes in for a drink, can I?
No, not... Sorry, I said hound, not Hyde.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Not judging your establishment.
It's been known to happen.
In what circumstance would you be concerned, above and beyond the cause of simple... If you were a man like Cutter, accustomed to violence, in what context would you be so concerned that you would let your compatriots know?
If I was outnumbered, or if I was guilty.
Ah. Well, guilt is a matter for a judge. Outnumbered, however. Quite possibly. I'm missing a key point here. What we need to know is where Cutter was going.
Yes, I think there might have been some confusion about the timeline it spelled out. So to be very...
Tried to get it sorted. I don't know why timelines don't gel up in my brain.
So to be clear, half an hour is enough time to get from the Aventine to the Millennium Club, dispatch a raven and come back.
Oh, so Cutter's gone missing somewhere
and
between...
Cutter summoned you to the Aventine.
Mm.
Oh.
I think I wanted to step in there because it looked a little bit like some timeline confusion was about to cause you to go off on a train to Manchester or something.
This is why I know you love it when I figure stuff out for myself, but it doesn't always go down that way.
That's fine.
So our logical port of call is to try and trace Cutter's path of the Millennium Club and try and figure out where Cutter has been intercepted.
That is a possible choice.
Howard will voice that. He's not shy in voicing that one.
Somewhere between the club and the Aventine, Cutter has gone missing. but he knew he wanted to speak urgently about something, which means he must have heard or learned something. This is not... Give me just a second. Hound was at the last score, right?
Yep.
Yeah. This is not simply a matter of warning us about the interest of the McCrearys. That could wait. This must mean the McCrearys knew something, or were planning something.
Ah, that's a third reason why I'd probably seek out the help of my compatriots. If I'd been made.
Quite possible. They left before Cutter did. I think we should go to the Millennium Club.
Right.
May well be there'll be more clues there.
I whistle, Burke falls in step.
So, how are we going to do this then? You're going to the Millennium Club. I'm going to start the clock now. So, I'm going to start an 8-segment clock called Cutter is Caught. Every time the scene changes or you take an action, I advance the clock by 1. Failure by greater degrees will increase the filling of the clock. When the clock is filled, Cutter is caught. Then I'll start a 6-segment clock. Cutter disappears. If that clock fills, Bree won't be playing Cutter this session, and rescuing Cutter will be a whole different thing. Along the way, certain checks will have consequences for Cutter rather than for you. So if you roll a failure on a putting something together roll or a tracking roll, it won't have any consequences to you, but it might add a wound to Cutter.
No. So many wounds already.
So you are rolling the race against time, and you're also potentially worsening the consequences, not the consequences, worsening the situation if and when you find Cutter.
I want to apologise to the audience for the frantic piping. This is the only way I can make notes.
I'm not putting a segment in the clock. You going to the Millennium Club is essentially the clock comes into existence. From now on, the clock will advance when you change scene. It's fairly abstract. Don't ask me exactly what the timings are. It doesn't really matter. Clocks don't measure time. Yeah.
Very well. Mr. Hound, it may well be that our compatriot is in grave danger. We must use all of the powers and tools at our advantage in order to find him. May well be that Mr. Cutter's life depends on it.
There's very little I wouldn't do for Mr. Cutter.
No. Quite. Sure.
So now would be a good time, or perhaps at the end of this scene, it would be a good time to determine your load, because we are going to do an engagement roll as soon as you have enough information to proceed with the score.
Yes. But also, we're at our base. We can get whatever load we want.
Exactly, yes. I mean, load is always a flashback anyway, but yes. I don't need to know what gear you have, but... so yes, you're at the Millennium Club. No one knows the Millennium Club is where the Gentlemen Strangers are based. So if Mr. Cutter was taken here, that's incredibly bad news.
And I am going to have a quick look around. See if you can catch Mr. Cutter's scent from this place, and we will track his whereabouts back to the Aventine.
Right, you are, Mr. Spider.
Like, Mr. Spider is literally looking for any signs of anything else that Cutter might have left message-wise. He doesn't think that he'll find anything, but it would be particularly idiotic to come to the Millennium Club and not look.
Well, Mr. Cutter summoned you to the Aventine, so didn't leave any clues behind here.
Nope. But there might be clues that he didn't mean to leave behind here, like something he left here. You know, has he taken his favorite weapons? Has he, you know, is he wearing his coat? I'm just trying to figure out exactly what was going on.
That's a nice one. I think if you go down into the cellar where your secret stash and so forth are kept, you can certainly see an ambiguous number of personal defense items have been taken. Maybe a knuckle duster, something like that. Nothing too conspicuous. No firearms or anything like that. But you do also know that Mr. Cutter often carries a knife or two about his person.
Spider rushes back up. We'll say he was prepared for violence, but no more so than usual.
Okay.
Do you have everything you need?
As far as scents go, Burke hasn't picked up like anything. It seems like, all right. It looks like Cutter weren't here recently. From there, we can assume that Cutter went to the Aventine equipped, just standard like. So now it's a matter of, we know at some point Cutter was here. We know that he went to the Aventine. Sniff out where he might have been and where he might have deviated from the path, shall we say.
Yes. Well, we know one thing for certain. Somewhere between the Millennium Club and the Aventine, Cutter did not make it to his destination.
Then he kind of looks down to Burke, kind of jerks his head. Lead on.
Well, there's no way for Burke. There's no trail for Burke to follow. This ghastly rainy night. But you know the quickest route to the Aventine by foot.
Yeah.
Mr. Cutter, being in a bit of a rush, would not have taken an elaborate route, most likely. You also, I think, have some idea of what the enemy knows, or more precisely, does not know, and that might help you. That's what I'll say.
Yes. The fact that the club has not been completely turned over leads us to believe that the McCrearys did not come across Mr. Cutter here. The whole route between the club and the pub is McCreary territory, isn't it?
This entire all of Camden is McCreary territory. Yes.
Okay. Well,
it's not McCreary territory like it's all police territory, right? The faction that controls most of London is the establishment. There are specific strongholds that are McCreary. Places that are always McCreary territory in Camden are the railways and rail stations and the canals and locks.
I meant more, it wasn't likely that Cutter was going to roam from the territory of one gang to another.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. McCreary's gangs aren't like the enemies in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. They don't just stand on street corners in their bright red blazers waiting for trouble to happen. They're very busy people.
How dare you know exactly how I view this game?
No, that's not what's happening. Especially at night.
No, especially when it's raining.
Lots of freight to take a cut of at night.
So we take the route that we believe Cutter would have taken back. Keep your eyes and your ears open.
So this sounds to me like we're going to want to make some sort of action, possibly an action led by Mr. Hound, I would suspect, but you're welcome to not do it that way.
I believe an action by Hound would be sufficient. Would this be a hunt, right?
I think it's arguably a hunt or a survey.
I have 2 in hunt, so I would be very happy. Actually, I've got 2 in both, so I'm happy with either. But it feels hunt. Feels like I'm trying to gather information, hunting a target, gather information about its location and movements, attack with precision and shooting from a distance. I want to do all three today. So yeah, it feels like a very hunty time.
So we've changed scene. So that's the clock advances. So please make your attempt.
My position is controlled.
Yes, yeah. You're not. No one's following you or trying to stop you.
And standard effect.
Yeah.
No bonus dice. A 2 and a 2.
2 and a 2. So the first thing that I'm going to do is advance their clock. A failure on 2 to 3 fills the clock by 3 segments. The clock is now half full. It also removes a die from the engagement roll when you find Cutter. It's a failure. You make it to the Aventine, essentially. Like you're tracking and tracking and tracking, and you get to the point where you can hear the piano coming from outside of the Aventine. And there's just nothing.
No, there's not a scent that we're going to be able to pick up in this regard. I think we need to start asking around the kind of people that might have seen Cutter coming out. See what they say. See if they can give us a lead.
Yes. I think Mr. Spider is going to be looking for any people who are more permanent fixtures. Homeless, shop owners, people with stalls, that kind of thing. I know it's late, but anyone that might be out.
Okay.
Sorry. Spider is looking for any of these people, and he intends to go and actively, chat to them and be upfront about whether they've seen this individual.
I've had a minor help from Fro McFuzzles. I'm going to remove a segment from the Cutter is Caught clock.
Let me take a look at. Oh, I can never tell with
so the evidence you're looking for is what happened, yes?
Yeah, what happened.
Okay.
I suppose sway. I suppose this is sway. Or perhaps
could be sway,
command.
could be command, could be consult. It depends entirely what you're trying to get out of people. I don't think it's command if you're not going up to someone and going, tell me what you know. That's a command. What you're trying to do is get someone to open up about something that wasn't their business. I suspect it.
I just realized that sway also includes charm. Yeah, he's being upfront about it. He's not being a.
Yeah, you don't have time for a consort. Consort is nattering with someone for 20 minutes and casually getting information out of them. I mean, you can if you like, but that will definitely add...
No, it's definitely more of a, have you seen this person? I'm being upfront that I am looking for this person.
Yeah, okay, make your check.
I'm gonna mark stress for this because we need a lead. We need a lead.
That's the lead.
Okay, but we don't have them. There aren't any. Standard owners.
Okay, that's a 6.
Oh, I couldn't see it.
So that still fills the clock because you took an action, but the good news is it adds a die to your Cutter engagement roll.
You undo my mistakes.
You have... You're now back to. Well, actually, you got a freebie a bit there because you can't go below 1 die for an engagement roll. Well, I don't want you to go below 1 die. I don't think you should go below 1 die for an engagement roll. So you're now up to 2 engagement dice.
But what that means is, did somebody see him?
No one saw anything. Now I know what you're thinking. Hang on, I rolled a success, a complete success. No one saw anything, but everyone knows McCreary. So you don't get a bigger picture on what happened, but you do now know where, if someone was taken by McCreary, you know where McCreary takes people. and you hear that there is a funeral parlor on Mercer Street. The homeless gentleman that you're talking to adds a bit of distressing color. He says, "Funeral home, more like abattoir by the time they're done."
Mr. Spider's face remains completely sort of stoic and will slip the man, you know, I can't remember the money of the system, a couple of pennies to be like, you know, thank you, my good man. Go get yourself a drink out of this frightful rain.
Yep. He's pretty grateful for that and trots into the Aventine.
Have I heard of this funeral parlour in my doings? In my comings and goings?
I don't think specifically. But I think you do suddenly get an image when you hear this clue. I think you get an image in your head of coffins with more occupants than people think. A funeral parlor that employs some good strapping pallbearers who won't notice the extra weight, kind of thing.
Fascinating. He does not vocalize that thought out loud, but
no. This is not the cutter engagement role. This is a different engagement role. This is the funeral home engagement role. So we're going to roll engagement. The result of this roll will determine the strength of the opposition when you arrive at the funeral home. So let's have a quick chat and see if there's anything you can do about the funeral home. I don't think there's much you can do here, but I want you to have the opportunity to see if there's something you can think of to add some dice.
Okay.
What do we know about Mercer Street?
Great question.
You're asking me?
Yes, I know nothing of Mercer Street. Is it somewhere we have likely travelled before?
I think it's possible because it's off 7 dials. So it probably is somewhere that you have been or you know vaguely. There is probably quite a prominent funeral parlour because it's a Catholic funeral parlour. It does Catholic funerals as a speciality. It's called Sullivan's. It's got the whole outfit, everything. It's got a mortuary downstairs. It's got a stable yard with its own hearses. The only thing it doesn't do is make its own coffins, but other than that, it's got the whole thing covered.
Horses kept there. It's got the stable yard. Are there actual horses there? If that's the case, and we are looking for a means by which to get in, there is nothing so startling to folk than their horses running free.
Gives away our position somewhat.
But it could well remove some of them if they're having to chase their horses down the street.
Indeed. At the very least, it will distract their attention somewhat. We have no notion of where within the building they would have taken cover.
No.
So it sounds like your plan is to create some sort of noise or some sort of a stone tactically thrown at a horse's rear end or something to startle the horses. I want to get straight to it, if that's okay.
I like it.
I'm going to give you 2 dice in the engagement roll because I think that is a particularly bold and daring plan because of the risk inherent to potentially giving away your own position. So let's do that. I'm sure I can roll engagement. Yep. Let's wish them luck on engagement, dear audience. They want to do well. How did we do? We got a 4. That's very good. So, you successfully managed to cause a fuss in the stables, which draws 2 men up from the cellar to try to calm the horses down.
Okay. I think this place is absolutely not working at this point in time. There's no one going in the front end. We can't do the whole like we did with the supernaturally inclined shop.
No.
We could benefit from someone getting in at this point and having a look around while these horses are being tended to. Perhaps even both of us.
Changed scene, so let me advance that cutter is court clock. We are now on 5 filled segments out of 8.
Perhaps it must be both of us. There's no good one of us being fooled.
And in we go. So we're going to use that opportunity whilst they're tending to the horses to slip inside and start moving our way through.
Okay, make me some slip inside actions. This isn't an investigative action, so I'm not going to make it take up time on the clock.
Do we do this as a team, or do we...
It depends. Are you going separate or are you going together? If you're going together, it's a group action led by one of you. If you're going separate ways, then it's an individual action.
I'm not going to lie. I think that if we do this as a group action and rely on your prowl, that would be better. For my prowl is non-existent.
I like the idea of Hound leading this and it being a group thing because there are 2 people that we might encounter on the way back that we know of. And Hound doesn't want to be outnumbered in that situation. There might be more inside, and it's easier to kind of flabbergast your way through something. And also, given that Spider's arguably like the seemingly more competent of the 2, it's nice that at this opportunity, like Hound's leading, raising a hand to get Spider to stop, getting to duck. So I will lead the prowling.
We've had a minor help from Bowman. Thank you, Bowman. What I'm going to do with that, Mr. Spider, is I'm going to give you a die, so you're not rolling it. What would effectively be some sort of disadvantage for this. So
I apologise for how I will inevitably not roll well. So I'm rolling prowl, yeah?
You're rolling prowl with 1 bonus die. It is risky, of course, because there are 2 men who might just turn around and see you.
Standard effect?
With standard effect. Fortunately, it is standard effect because the horse is making quite a fuss.
What's wrong with my rolls?
That is a 3. I'm afraid that's a failure.
Meh.
That's a failure. So this, I said, was not an investigative roll. So this won't have consequences for catching up or not catching up with Cutter in time. What I'm going to do instead of this is I am going to... What's a nice consequence of this? It was risky, so a straightforward failure. I am going to have... Who rolled worse? Well, you both rolled the same, but Mr. Hound rolled a 2 as well, so that's slightly worse. And you were the action leader as well. So what we'll do with that is, I think the panic from the horses, I think, is something that Burke detects through the mysterious abilities of dogs to detect the fear of other animals. I think Burke barks. Now, you've been very clever about this. You know Burke isn't stealthy. Burke stays behind until you whistle for him to come. That's fine. No problem there. But Burke barks in such a way that makes you sort of look around. And I think you slip over and swear loudly. And I'm going to give you a sprained wrist. Level 1 harm, which of course you're welcome to resist if you like.
I'd love to resist that.
Okay, then resist that.
Can't remember how to resist it.
That's fine. To resist this particular form of harm, you would roll prowess.
Ah, wonderful. Says finding prowess. Boop. 5.
Okay, then that costs you 1 stress. And you don't sprain your wrist. pretty good, but that's pretty good. That's a really good one. So you haven't sprained your wrist, but you have called out, you've sworn loudly, and that has caused the men to turn. So there is still a horse that they're wrangling. So this situation's a bit weird. And it does, I think, even so, give you two the initiative because they are still trying to get a horse to calm down. So essentially, Mr. Spider, I think you're the one least disadvantaged by the current situation. So I'll hand it to you. But
so situation-wise, we're trying to get in.
You've crept in. I'm imagining you've crept in over a wall on the far side where the horse is nowhere near. Also, the shortest distance from there to the door. On the way, there's been a disturbing bark from Burke, and
A Burke bark.
A Burke bark, if you will, and you should. And what's happened is now these guys they've clocked you. They haven't made any move towards you because they're both holding on to this horse.
But we've definitely been made.
You have 100% been made, yes.
So I think that given the fact that Spider is currently and will forever be laboring under one of his traumas, he remembers very clearly what happened in the Adonium, and like I feel like he's going to get a little sort of bubble of panic from what happened the last time. And despite the fact that it is not the ideal plan, he is going to grab hold of Hound's shoulder and say, "Get inside, find Cutter." And it is going to, I guess, prepare to end up in a fight with two.
We didn't talk about load, I've just remembered.
Oh. I've got normal load.
Normal load with your vigilante gear still gives you 5 loads.
Yeah. Like, there's no reason to go heavier at this point.
Don't we get a +2 from vigilante?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Normal load with your vigilante gear gives you 5.
Oh, does our character sheet take that into account?
I don't know.
I think you could click as much as you want in terms of load on the character sheet. It's just down.
No, but like my normal load is 5. So if
light.
Yeah, our light load is 5.
That was me using a regular word instead of a system word.
Oh, I apologize. Cutter, I'm not Cutter. Spider came into this with normal load because he is frightened.
Okay.
So you're bulked out. You're not at your fastest. You've got a big heavy coat on with some cannon.
He's not heavy. He's normal.
Yeah.
The one thing that would stop Hound from doing that, following that command immediately, would be how armed is Spider.
You don't know.
Then no, I'm gonna follow your lead on that. I'm gonna go inside. I trust you.
Okay, Spider. So you've given that command. What else do you do? What's your plan for fighting these gents?
Great question. I love it.
You've outnumbered yourself 2 to 1. I would love to know why. I'd love to know what the scheme is here.
The scheme is these two gentlemen are holding a horse.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw something at the horse. The horse is already. I don't kill a horse. The horse is already riled up.
Yep.
So they are turning their attention on us, which means they're not turning their attention on the horse, which means I'm going to throw something, particularly, I think what they had in Victorian times. Some sort of sharp implement at the horse so that the horse will panic and maybe even run and or kick or bite or do something that means that horses are actually some of the most frightening animals.
So I'm torn on what sort of action this might be, because what you're actually doing is frightening the horse. You're not attacking the horse, you're frightening the horse, and you're doing it by means of an attack, but in a sense that doesn't matter. The action is the action of frightening a horse.
If I had a little cracky flashbang thing, I'd use that instead of a sharp implement, but they don't exist, I don't think.
So I don't know. My feeling is it might be a command, but I'd love to know what else it could be.
I'd love it to be a command.
If you were attacking the horse straightforward, it would be a skirmish.
No, I am definitely looking to startle the animal.
Yeah, then I think you're probably doing a command because you're probably throwing the thing and doing a kind of "Blah!" kind of thing, like you're trying to scare the horse, which means not just tossing a rock at it. You've got to really frighten it.
Yeah. I need this to work, otherwise I will die.
Do a devil's bargain. I've got a devil's bargain.
Devil's bargain. Hit me with that bargain from the devil.
Devil's bargain is that when one of the guys wrangling the horse sees you throw an object, he thinks it's at him, which makes him react in such a way that will panic the horse. Now, you might think, hang on, that's not a devil's bargain. I succeed either way. Yes. How are you going to control a panicked horse, Mr. Spider? That's my devil's bargain. You're going to panic the horse. You might not panic in the way you like.
I've got to turn the tide somehow, so give me that.
Don't! You sent half of your party away. This is a tide you've created.
Yes, because I'm playing up my trauma.
Then please
I'm
roll your
playing.
Then please take a bonus die from Devil's Bargain and roll a vu.
Watch me fail this roll.
Pretty sure this is risky. We all believe. A standard effect.
You got this.
It's almost always standard effect.
I believe in you. I have the bad rolls. You.
I've forgotten if that's a success or not.
4 is a success, yeah. 4 and up is a success. So that is success at a cost. So the success is that you do manage to get the horse to rear up and you send one of the guys running. That probably puts another clock on it, doesn't it? But he's off. The other guy, on the other hand, being freed of the horse, which is now reared up and making a noise, is free to launch at you and lands a punch for a light wound, one wound, one harm, which is just a bruised jaw.
May I resist that? Is that
you may resist that with prowess if you wish to. Yes.
Isn't this the roll though? If I fail it,
You can't fail it. You can't fail it. You do resist. But
sure
the lower you roll, the more stress it costs.
Oh, in which case I'll take the harm. Like I don't.
Bruised jaw. Fine. So you now only got one guy to deal with. He's just thrown a punch at you as a consequence of your action. It's you to decide what happens. There is a horse panicking in the background.
Yeah, but that's doing the thing I needed to do.
You could kick him into the panicking horse, like Indiana Jones kicks a guy into the spinning propeller of a plane, and let the horse just trample him.
I think what's going to actually happen, given that I know Mr. Spider, and I'm having horrifying flashbacks to the time that this bloody didn't work, but one day it'll work, and then it'll be cool, is that this guy comes in all fist guns blazing, and Mr. Spider, being as he is kind of a skinny rake of a human, even with his mask and his stuff, is going to snap up his arm, slide out the palm pistol and press it into the man's cheek and say, just back away. You have a horse to deal.
Okay, so that's another command roll, I believe.
Another command roll. And I'm going to spend stress on this because I'm stressed. And role play. Come back.
Someone's about to need an effing chat. We're not sure who yet.
I don't want to shoot him. I just want to spook him. Knocked my headphones off.
Did you roll?
I did.
Oh, you did. Sorry. Yeah. So you roll a 4. Very nice. So you have successfully convinced this guy that it's not worth his trouble because you've closed up and he can feel what feels very much like a pistol in his face. So he fucks off. The cost.
Don't mind if I get punched again.
No, I don't think that's the cost. I think the cost is engage. I think the cost is that taking more time to engage these guys. I am going to add a segment to the clock. There are now but 2 segments remaining on the clock. Cutter is caught.
Yes, but Hound is in there, and Hound is better at this than I am.
So I think the horse is going to trot off down the street a bit. I think the horse is going to go and calm itself down. Like, it's not a violent animal; it just wants some space. So I assume you go and join Mr. Hound.
Ideally, to also then join Mr. Cutter. Yes.
So, Mr. Hound, you descend into the cool of the cellar, where you see a mortuary. And there are no corpses around. You can see a couple of metal drawers. More intriguingly, however, you see 3 men. 2 of whom are certainly knocked out through violence, and the third of whom is slumped against a wall, nose bleeding, cradling his hand and swearing under his breath. He is next to what appears to be some sort of caged cell.
I will approach this individual. I have, at this point, a pistol in my hand. I am bemasked, behatted, becoated. I imagine that I cut quite the imposing figure emerging from outside, swooping down upon him. But my intention isn't strictly to shoot, nor to, at this point, engage in combat. I just want to have that little bit of extra presence as I descend and say, okay, what happened?
Fuck are you?
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me, no. Oh, I know, you're one of that lot, aren't you?
Quite possibly. Now please do enlighten me. My trigger finger is getting a little twitchy.
Well, what do you want to know?
Are they still in the cell?
Oh, you can see the cell, it's empty.
Ah. Where did they go? He nods to the cell indicatively.
Up your mother's arse, mate.
Oh. I see, yes, quite refreshing. I'm going to move to strike him across the cheek with the butt of my pistol.
Okay. Ow. Yeah. Oh, thank Christ she didn't have a fucking pistol. Oh. Well, now that we're best friends, I'll tell you everything I know.
How are your compatriots doing? Do you have much of a plan of getting out of here alive today, or shall I just hasten us along our way?
Do you know what? Helping you's more than my life's worth anyway, so.
Yes, but you get to decide. Live now, live later.
I've already told her where she's going. I'm not telling you as well. I mean, enough fucking shit as it is.
What's your out then? We can help you. Help us help you.
You're after the young woman, are you?
Yes.
I already told your friend.
Yes. But we're not her.
What? Him.
Him. Tell us. Tell us.
Well, we had 2 of them. Then we had 1 of them. Now we've got none of them. She went off to Brewer Street.
What about him?
Well, he and he shows 3 very broken fingers. He probably followed.
Why'd you get them?
Hmm?
Why did you get them?
Orders.
From?
The fucking Pope. Who do you think?
Hmm.
Didn't know he extended so far into London.
What?
The Pope.
What? What do you mean a fucking Pope? What are you talking about?
Just
Jesus
asked.
Christ. What happened to them up there?
Oh, we
Chasing
did.
Chasing horses.
Oh, right, yeah. Jesus fucking Christ, this fucking hurts.
I bet. There. Chin up.
Spider's going to glance into the cell area just to ensure that, again, nothing is left unturned, and in the process will hand the man his bottle of whiskey.
All right, fair play.
Like
Don't
I
mind
said.
getting ratted.
Like I said, help us help you.
I'd hurry up if I were you.
Yeah, we're
No
intending
one comes
to.
out of Brewer Street.
What's at Brewer Street?
Nothing good, mate.
Give us a clue.
I don't know if you're thick or what.
Assume that we are.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. If you keep wasting my time with overly specific questions, you'll get to find out firsthand.
Spider takes his drink back.
Oh, well,
Oh, you had every opportunity to answer our questions.
I did. You can't put together the context. Not my problem. What do you think's at Brewer Street? Fucking fairy tea party? Jesus. Bad things.
Are we done with him?
Am I done with you? I have no idea what's happening. I'm in a lot of fucking pain here.
I wasn't addressing
This
you.
is the most painful thing that's happened to me all night. My fingers were fucking broken.
Yes. Right, to Brewer Street, shall we?
We shall.
I wouldn't.
Okay. Leave.
Why are you called gentlemen strangers?
That's the mystery, isn't it? Oh, we leave.
All right.
I feel bullied by the GM.
Next time, don't talk to them so subtly. Fucking hell, Mitch. You were told about direct, non-confrontational communication. It's the key to reconciling yourself with your enemies.
At the start of the session, don't forget, get all the information, leave no stone unturned. Asks a lot of questions. You fickle, Sammy!
As we get out, and as we're undoubtedly heading towards Brewer Street, there will be a point where Hound quietly to Spider says, "Why are we called gentlemen strangers?"
I thought it was a combination of... I thought it was a combination of the fact that some of us are gentlemen, some of us are not, but all of us are strangers.
So I've just moved up a segment. We are now 1 segment away from completing the clock. Cutter is caught, at which point I begin the clock. Cutter disappears. And then Bree won't be joining us.
We're going to Brewer Street. We're doing it.
So you are heading to Brewer Street. You don't you don't get very far before you come across a very interesting scene. You're a few streets away when you can see a sort of a small crowd gathering around what you soon realize is a hearse. You can see a sort of a crowd of people gathered around. Some people are hushing a horse. And you can see some guys sort of tending to wounds and so on. What you can see is a bunch of really tough sort of guys looking around and kind of keeping a watch. Trying to get the crowd to bugger off.
What can we see?
I don't know how to give you more information than I've already given you. You see a hearse in the middle of the street, a horse some way distant from it being calmed down. You see what looks like a crowd of normos and a crowd of probably less than normos trying to keep things under control and obviously looking for something.
I think at this point, all right, let me address this in character. Let's get ourselves mingled in the crowd, see what we can hear about what's happened here. I rather suspect we probably want to have a... I might be wrong. I might be putting the wrong ends together. There might be more than just a body in that coffin.
Am I being mean to you? Your friend broke that guy's fingers. Were you expecting to be more helpful?
I thought we were...
Izzy, a curl of your hair has fallen perfectly and makes it look like you have one blue eyebrow. Very cyberpunk. I like it.
I just have to blue my eyebrows up.
It's like a cyberpunk film, like, and everyone has a dyed eyebrow and it's never explained.
It's a great look.
Dyed
Fashion. Eyebrow.
So
I'm trying my best to be intimidating and ask questions, and you make it very difficult because you make me feel small.
You're doing very well. You've got all the information you need.
Tell me I've done a good job.
I can't tell you that because your friend might disappear.
And help us.
You haven't found her yet.
We're looking.
Where is she under this flower pot?
Oh.
So yeah, you're going with the crowd. Is this a consort? I hear.
Yeah.
I'd love Spider to lead it.
I'm doing it.
I don't feel confident leading this one.
You don't have to do it at all, Mr. Hound, if you don't want to. If you want to keep an eye on the others instead of consorting, that's fine.
That's a shock, baby.
You don't have to both do the same thing.
Risky position?
Risky?
Controlled?
No, it's controlled. There's no risk here. Unless you're going, I am the gentleman stranger.
The gentleman
I want to
stranger.
know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's controlled and standard.
Not Mr. Slide. While listening to the crowd, you keep your eyes open.
As you say. I'm going to climb something. I'm going to view this from on high.
That is a success at a cost, so I am going to finally fill in the clock. Mr. Cutter is caught.
Bye.
No, we've still got a whole other clock. She's just being tortured a bit.
We got one whole one-segment clock.
Other clock. But that's a success. So you're able to you get the story from the scandalized gentleman. Sort of, he's obviously wearing pajamas, but he's wrapped himself in a greatcoat, and he's like he says, "Oh, it's a terrible thing. The Sullivan's hearse came by, and this, well, I don't know a better word to use, but this highwayman just leapt out and started attacking them, you know, pistols at dawn, your money or your life, that sort of thing." And well, there was a bit of a tussle as far as I heard, and by the time I got out it was all over, and the highwayman had run off down that alleyway over there, and that's that. A scandalous thing to do. I mean, no respect.
Frightful behaviour. Who would attack a hearse?
Probably a Frenchman.
Almost certainly. It's getting that we can't travel the streets in peace without being attacked by the French.
Hmm. What? The famous French hearse muggers of 1890.
Was anyone seriously hurt, or did the highwayman take off?
Oh, it was a horrible thing. I looked out of my window. I saw most of it. There was 3 or 4 guys on the hearse, and a young woman was with them. And then this bandit just jumped out, and it was awful. This bandit just gave out to them, and well, I've never seen one person take on 3 before, but it was awful.
The gall of some men.
Well, I must have had some sort of anarchist fighting training, because these 3 men aren't small, as you can see. You know, one of them's got a broken jaw, I think, and more showed up. And the only reason the fight stopped was more showed up. I think they're Mr. McCreary's lot. He's a good man, you know, clear of the community.
Of course. Still, frightful behaviour, frightful. What's the world coming to? Grumble, grumble. Mr. Spider will make a gesture to Mr. Hound, indicating the alleyway that was pointed out, and will begin breaking free of the crowd.
Thank you very much, Fuzzles, for thinking my accent was remotely recognizable as an actual human accent. Okay, yes, you have a direction of travel.
I'll go skulking down that alleyway. This'll be another instance where Burke is very much close to my heel, as I now very much am of the belief that we are likely to find Cutter's scent, and that's going to be what leads us to him.
So you're going to want to go down in that direction without being clocked by McCreary's lot.
That's fine by me. I'm happy to flash back to grabbing some climbing gear from the base, and I'm happy to do even just a cursory amount of parkour just to make sure that I'm off the streets and in the alley, so that as Spider detaches from the crowd that he's been very much immersed in, I'm just shimmying down a drain pipe to get in that alley myself.
Okay, so I guess some sort of, I don't know, do you want to do a prowl maybe? What do you think?
I love a prowl.
Prowl makes the most sense, I think. I am going to advance the clock. Cutter disappears by 1.
Leave the clock alone.
Is my situation controlled or risky?
It's risky, because if they see you, they'll raise hell.
The effect is standard.
Yes.
Any bonus?
Not from me, but you're happy. You're welcome to buy one or negotiate for one.
I would say that, you know, I'm prepared for this kind of movement. I do have climbing gear, which I'm trying to employ to keep out of immediate eyesight.
Do you have climbing gear? Is that a thing you have?
It is. It's in my load. Grappling hooks, small pouch of chalk dust, climbing harness with loops and metal rings, iron pitons, and small mount. It's very intense climbing gear, I'll grant you that.
I think that justifies a bonus die. You can also spend stress or engage a devil's bargain for another bonus die if you like.
I'm not going to do the devil's bargain, and I don't want to spend stress because I'm so close to trauma. I've got so many wounds I need to be healed.
It's not fun, because then you do your trauma and then you get yelled at.
I'm going to do my roll of 3.
Rollez-vous. Okay, that is a 4 success at a cost. So the thing you were attempting to do was get into that alleyway unseen, which you have done. The cost of which doing is I think I've established that it's a rainy night, so I think it's pretty clear. I think one of your little pitons slips from the cheap cement in the rain, and you kind of skid down and sprain an ankle on your way down, which would be level 1 harm, which you may attempt to resist if you wish.
I'm going to attempt to resist.
Roll me your prowess.
Boom.
Okay, spend 1 stress and do not take harm. Very good. Very good indeed. Oh, you're playing fast and loose with stress, aren't you? Good. Okay, that's what we like to see. Stress is there to be spent. It's not there to be saved. Spider, what's your crack?
I mean, I'm following, but I'm following a little way behind because...
Oh, you're going to attempt this parkour.
No. Just going down the alleyway.
Now, how are you going to go down the alleyway without being spotted? There are lots of ways you could try and socially just bluff it.
Yeah,
I live down here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I figured after being in the crowd, he was going to continue his. He indicated to Hound so that Hound would go, and then he's just going to do a whole.
Okay, well you can try to do a sway if you like to for social stealth to pass off as just an average citizen.
Yep. Yes.
With your mask.
Well, he can maybe do some finagling where
people wear masks in London. It's often smoggy.
That's true.
Success at a cost of 5. Lovely. Okay, so you've successfully managed to get into the alleyway. Oh, Christ, a cost. I don't know, man. I think you did. I think I'm going to add another segment to the clock because I think what you've done is you've done a whole. Well, about to hit the old dusty trail. Like you've done a bit of a performance to make sure it's because if you go straight away down the alleyway, it's a bit suspicious. And I think in taking your time to make sure everyone's not looking at you, we're going to advance that Cutter disappears clock.
No.
So we're on 2 segments out of 6. So we're a third of the way there, and the 2 of you meet up in the alleyway and get on the trail of Mr. Cutter, and that is an excellent time to go for a break, after which time hopefully Bree will join us and either watch the downfall of her character or be ready to jump in and fill the crew in on exactly what has happened and what kind of a bad day Mr. Cutter has exactly had. So let's say 15 minutes break. Is that okay with everyone? And we'll be back at about 25 to the hour, whatever the hour is, wherever you are in the world. Peace.
Peace.
You may have noticed we've gained the wonderful vampire queen face of Bree, who is here. So now I'm going to ask for the engagement roll that was promised a long time ago. This is you happening upon Mr. Cutter. I will describe the scene with Mr. Cutter when we've done the engagement roll. Now, I believe you've got 2 dice on that at the moment. And you've managed to come without... you're not followed. You've not provoked any attention. So I'm going to give you 3 dice on it. How did we do? We've got a 6.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. So you you come upon the following scene. Cutter, you've had the time you've had. I've already covered that with you. They caught up with you. Your exertions tired you out a bit, and they've managed to catch up to you. The clock that Cutter has caught is filled up, which means that Cutter is surrounded. 4 are against 1. But you've rolled a 6 new engagement roll. You're in a controlled position. What that means is, I think you've cottoned on to the sounds of a thing. You've realized as you approach, that's Cutter, and he's in trouble. And I think you've managed to get yourself into a position where you're ready to go at any moment, and they haven't seen you at all. So the position is essentially, you've literally got Cutter is cornered, and there's these 4 McCrearys, and they're about to, and they're engaging in a fight. I think the fight is literally about to start. Like, Cutter's realized she's got 1 chance, and that's to punch a hole through them and make a desperate run for it, because you can't fight 4 guys who know you're coming. It's impossible. But you can punch a hole through and run. That's your only chance. What you don't know is that Messrs Spider and Hound are about to be the cavalry. So I think what we'll do is we will start with Mr. Cutter and give Mr. Cutter a chance to make some sort of action to try to soften things up, perhaps.
Okay. So at this point, I feel like a lot of these guys are probably very, very done with the tiny twig of a person who has just been wreaking havoc on their night. It was supposed to be simple, but no, I'm more trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point, Cutter is trying to frenzy them almost to like make them angry so they make mistakes. So what you're going to hear is taunting, like, "Oh, that's the best you got?
Mm-hmm.
How many of your friends are on the ground right now? You want broken fingers too? Oh,
No.
easily." And I think more than trying to knock them out, I would like to be probably swiping legs or something just to trip one of them up so they have to like climb over their other fallen teammate, because that's all they're good for, is falling on the ground and being in pain.
That does seem to be the case from their night so far. Things haven't gone well for them, let's be honest. Cutter was more than a handful. Okay, great. Well, that's fantastic. So, make your action. It sounds potentially like a wreck or a skirmish. I don't know how you want to play it. Skirmish might be more of an exchange of blows, but there's no real way to avoid that necessarily. So you have to gamble on what you think is the best thing to do.
Well, I do. I think, okay, like mechanically, skirmish is my better dot.
Yep.
But just narratively, it has to be wreck because I'm going to create chaos. But if I could bargain with our lovely GM.
You want to bargain with the devil, do you?
Well, I do. I am a savage person. And I feel like they should already be scared of me.
Mm-hmm.
I want my extra dice because I need this to work, and I would like to bargain because it has to work.
Okay. A devil's bargain.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know. Give me a moment. I'm open to suggestions while I ponder this.
Oh, I accidentally rip his hand off. I didn't mean to rip it off. I just meant to sprain his
Your
wrist.
devil's bargain can't be you do more harm to your enemies. I accidentally critically hit and kill all 4 of them.
But then I feel very embarrassed by it.
What have I done?
My trousers fall down and
I didn't mean to rip his hand off. It just happened.
So I think in making the move, you open yourself up to an attack, and you'll take 1 harm.
I think that's fair.
You can still try to resist that harm.
Okay. I don't think I will, though. I'm just going to Okay, so my position is controlled. Is that what you said?
That is a controlled position.
Okay. Standard effect.
Oh no, you're not in a control position. You're in a desperate position.
I'm in a desperate
You're in a
position.
desperate position, so you will mark experience.
Okay. And I get my bonus dice. And
you get your bonus die. Yep.
And I'm rolling it now, and it doesn't work.
Oh no! What did you get? Am I giving you
a 3?
That is a 3. That is a failure on a desperate position. Okay. So what you all witness is Mr. Cutter makes a lunge. You think possibly trying to hamstring or just knock someone's knee to the side and create a gap, but it doesn't work. So as well as the level 1 harm, which I've already given you, you are going to be lightly stabbed.
Lightly stabbed.
You're going to be lightly stabbed, and that's a level 2 harm. Lightly stabbed.
No thanks. I don't want that one.
Here's the thing, Sable. You say that it does nothing, but it raises our fighting spirit because we see our comrade being so brave in the face of danger.
Okay, I want to resist that one though.
Okay. Roll prowess to resolve that.
Okay. How do you? I just roll it, and there's no bonus or anything. It's just I got a 5.
You got a 5, so you spend 1 stress, and you're not lightly stabbed. It's a
nice.
The harm is it's awkward. The harm is reduced because it was a desperate roll. That is awkward actually, because that would make it a level 1 harm, but you can't take any more harm than that.
So what's the point of resisting then? I should just take it?
Yeah, I'd probably just take it. I don't think there's any way.
Lightly stabbed.
Okay. What I'll do is I will offer you the choice. I will offer you the following choice. You can negate it completely for 2 more stress, or you can just take it. You can spend 3 stress to negate it, or you can just take level 2 harm, lightly stabbed.
I'm gonna spend the stress. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we're on our way to Trauma Town.
I don't want it. Stop. Don't sing about my traumas like that so flippantly.
We should all sing about our traumas. Da, 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 it's terrible.
Okay, so I think of the two gentlemen strangers waiting to go in, I think the more combat competent one is Mr. Hound. So Mr. Hound.
Hey.
Well, prove me wrong.
You just say it like that. Man.
I'm going to draw a pistol because right now we haven't properly engaged. I imagine we are stood some distance off. One of my special abilities as a sharpshooter is that I can make a ranged attack from an extreme distance beyond what is normal for the weapon. I don't think this is too abnormal anyway for a pistol shot, but the one that's just landed in a decent blow on Cutter, I want to blow their brains out. And I want that to be the first thing I do. I want to resolve this situation with violence, which is very in keeping for the Hound.
Yes. Well, okay.
So I'm going to do a hunt roll, if I may.
That would probably be a hunt roll, yes.
What is my position? Controlled?
You are controlled.
Brilliant.
Any extra dice?
I'd like an extra dice just to make sure I do what I want to do. But I need to do that through the devil's bargain.
Yes, you don't want to spend any more stress, do you? So, the devil's bargain I offer you is a...
If it's I accidentally shoot Cutter, I'm going to immediately reject.
No, the devil's bargain is this. The devil's bargain is this. I was debating whether to do it as you get the shot off, but the gun jams, you won't be able to get any more shots off. But I'm actually going to do something different. I am going to start a 4-segment clock. Here come the bobbies.
Yeah, standard. There was a gunshot, I suppose. I'll take that.
Okay.
And I'm a roll. Yeah, 5.
You got a 5. Very nice.
5.
Here come the bobbies. Okay, 1 segment out of 4. You hear in the distance a police whistle. But that is a success with a controlled position and sound effect. So yeah, that's a headshot. Yeah, I think poor Mr. Cutter gets sprayed a little. But there's only one man in all of London who could have made a shot like that. Well, there aren't. There's probably loads of men in London who made a shot like that. It could have been another of McCreary's guys making a really bad shot. But yes, you've taken down one of the McCreary lads. Not sure what Mr. McCreary will think of that, but that's future Mr. Hound's problem. Mr. Spider.
I imagine the situation in my head goes that Cutter is surrounded by dudes. Hound's taken out the one that full on went to stab him. We're coming at this from a place of relative stealth, aren't we? They don't.
Absolutely, yes. You have every.
So I want Spider in that moment to drop down, not quite as dramatically as Hound could, because he's not the most athletic. But we're filling up our load, so we get the flashback to the time that Spider was stood at the weapons rack, figuring out what Cutter had taken and what Cutter hadn't taken, and he flips on a pair of Cutter's favorite knuckle dusters and jumps down behind them and is going to I'm calling this a skirmish check, and I'll explain why in a second, and is going to effectively lamp out at one that's coming up behind Cutter, because I don't imagine that Spider, with his raw strength, will be able to lay anyone out. But it's more of a holding pattern, allowing Cutter to be aware of his surroundings enough, mostly so that Spider can drop down and say, "Sorry, we're late, Cutter."
Then I'll wipe some of the blood off of my cheek. You're here now. That's what matters.
Timeliness is next to godliness, Spider. Sorry. Okay, very good. I'm gonna give you an extra die just for that excellent line. That's entertained me, and that's got to be worth a die, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So controlled.
Yeah, control position, lamp someone in the back of the head. I'm not going to give you an extra die. I'm going to give you increased effect. That's better than an extra die.
No, it is better than extra die. Nevertheless, you know what? I'm going to spend the stress on this though, because my skirmish isn't great, and I want this to succeed.
Very good.
So, great effect, is that
whatever the step up from standard is?
standard, limited, great, extreme, 0?
Great it is. I don't think it's called that in the rule book, but yep. Well, that's a 6. That's a 6 control. Yes. Great. So I think you just completely lamp this guy out cold.
Yes.
I think this guy just sort of falls forward, plop, on the pavement. I think that's him.
This makes up for everything. Spider looks so fucking dashing.
Sorry, we're late. You look like James Bond. Only you respect consent sexually. So
very much.
That, I think it's Bree. It's Mr. Cutter. Now you've got 2 fewer enemies.
And 2 more friends.
And 2 more friends, by heck.
Okay, the time for a very menacing line to the ones remaining. 2 down, and I'm going to. What's something super cool? I don't know much about weapons. Is there some like thing I can wrap on their feet so they fall down? And I could step on their necks.
You could you want them to fall down.
Or just I wanted some neck stepping. I feel like that's appropriate in this situation.
Okay.
Or I could like climb on one of them and just put all of my weight backwards. Like, I don't know.
You want to try and tackle one to the floor.
I want someone on the floor. There are 2 down. Now the 3rd one needs to go down. Otherwise my line doesn't make sense.
No, obviously, no, absolutely.
Did you not just sweep the leg, or is that too?
I just tried that and it didn't work.
Yeah, you can try that.
Because I want. This is now skirmish time, and I just want an upper hand. I want one left to be scared of me.
Okay, so here's my thinking, Abe Lincoln. I know that we've all got our different loads. Based on what we took at the start of the score, but I want to be able to like, I don't know how this would work, whether it would count to my load or it would count to Cutter's load, but mechanically speaking, I want Spider to have brought something along that he can chuck to Cutter. Like, you always forget this, and it's so useful, like a big sweeping stick or something that he can use to actively like.
So I think what I would like, I would like it to be an unusual weapon that you throw to Cutter, and I think it's a cane with a good strong handle, so you can hook the back of the knee and just pull and like down.
Some kind of ornamental staff with like, it's not a normal, it's got like a blade on one side that doesn't make sense, but it's the hook part I need to use.
You are talking about Evie Fry and her weird staff that she has that no one can fully...
Yeah, it's a walking stick, but the handle comes out slightly.
That would certainly qualify as an unusual weapon, so absolutely, if that's what you want to do.
And it means that all through the walk, Spider's just been treating it like he's a gentleman walking about with his walking stick, and he goes,
and then I'll swing it under the person's leg, and then they're on the ground and I get to do a next step.
Well, it sounds to me like a skirmish, but I'm open to negotiation.
No, that's exactly what I want.
+1 from assistance from teammate. And I do not spend stress because I thought this in advance.
Yep. And +1 die from Mr. Spider, and you can of course have another die from a Devil's Bargain if you like.
No, get out of here, you devil.
I am the devil.
Okay, what's my position? Are we still desperate?
You are no longer in a desperate position. You are now in simply a risky position, as is everyone else now.
Okay.
Actually, Mr. Hound is not yet in a risky position because Mr. Hound is not yet engaged. Mr. Hound has stayed back.
Okay, so I get my bonus dice. Oh, that's a 5. That's a 5.
That is a 5. Very good. So success at a cost. Well, it's a skirmish, so it's a simple trade of blows, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to take another level 1 harm, which will upgrade to a level 2 harm, which is bleeding.
I'm bleeding, you guys.
You can, of course, attempt to resist that if you wish.
No, I have too many stress. I don't want trauma right now.
Too much stress. However, you have successfully landed this guy and winded him. He's now down on the ground. If you want to stamp on his neck, that's fine.
Yeah, not for extra. I just want to be standing on his neck because I think it looks cool.
You want to put your boot on his neck to make it clear that one move from you and it's lights out.
Yeah, and then I can slowly turn to the last one.
I think the last one is going to leave in an abrupt and deliberate fashion because there is no way. He was part of a 4 against 1. He is now part of a 3 against 1 in the other direction. And I don't think he's got the courage to stick that out. He's already seen that you guys are willing to kill. And he's not interested. So he is gone. He vamooses. And the 3 of you are reunited. But of course, the police are still coming. You can hear their response whistle from another direction.
Let's move, Clutter.
Fuck. Can I like step on this guy's neck a little bit more as we leave? I don't weigh that much, so it won't kill him. But like,
you're perfectly welcome to put the fear of God into him. Yes.
Obsessed today.
Today, and next getting stepped on. It's how I cope. Yeah, we need to vamoose.
So I'm going to. Are we on Brewer Street?
You're nowhere near Brewer Street. You caught up with them pretty quickly, so you're a long way from Brewer Street.
Okay. We need to make sure she's okay. We have to go. Where's the opposite way of Brewer Street? Did I see which direction she ran?
She'll have gone down alleyways and things like that. You have no way of keeping up with her.
Okay, never mind then.
So trauma-wise, given that Cutter is currently hovering and is having a neck moment, I think what happens is, regardless of whatever is the most sensible way to go, Spider is literally going to grab hold of Cutter's elbow and run off down a street that does not have the sound of police whistles.
I will just follow because I'm a little bit on edge right now. I'm not in the mood to be making decisions.
I will take the rear, casting an eye back to make sure that we are not being followed as we depart.
Yeah, you've managed to dispatch of your opponents in such a timely fashion that I don't think the police are caught up. The clock's only just half full, so I think you can successfully evade. I mean, you literally see the police, 100 yards that way, and you're just going the other way. Where do you go?
I think ideally we need somewhere basically we need to be able to duck out for a little to get Cutter's whole perspective and find out who she is. So it's probably, I imagine, another alleyway or some kind of abandoned backyard of some facility that has an open gate that we can just make use of in the shadows.
Okay, that's no problem. That's no problem. So the 3 of you catch a breather.
Mr. Hound, you're here too. Good.
Thank you.
Charming, of course, Mr. Carter, that you think that I alone would be able to take on 4 of McCreary's boys.
I didn't expect there to be so many. or any at all.
Indeed.
There were two. You got my note. Thanks for coming.
How will you explain what is happening?
Start to finish, right? I went down for a drink. I like Mr. Hyde. He's a lovely person. I wanted to ask him about his irrelevant. Two of McCreary boys were in there. They're so horrible. They don't know how to speak in a straight line, but they wanted money from that job we pulled with the train, and I think they knew somehow that I was in on it. I don't know how. So I called for you, and on my way back to the Aventine, there was a bag over my head, and they were taking me somewhere. Turns out to be a funeral home. Gross and creepy. And there was a woman there, and she was out of her mind with fear. I guess she didn't want to help me break free, so I tried to break her free. But they took her, and I followed, and stole a horse. Don't let them hang me. I don't think they knew I did that, but I stole the horse. Is the horse okay? The horse doesn't matter.
Carter.
Doesn't matter. And they were taking her, and I followed, and I caught up to them, and she escaped. Well, I don't know why they wanted her, but they took her, and then she escaped, and then you came. Thank you.
Tell me more about this girl.
I don't know much. Small, mid-20s maybe. It was dark. She had hair, and they grabbed it, and they pulled her out by her hair, and I thought they couldn't get away with that. But I don't. It was dark. I don't know why they wanted her or what. But she got away. She's fine, probably.
I imagine during this recounting, in whatever kind of corner that we've ended up in, Hound's towards the entrance of it, keeping an eye out, but kind of watching Cutter and seeing like Cutter working through, and a slightly shaken Cutter is a strange thing. So he whistles to Burke, and then sends Burke Cutter's way because he knows that Cutter likes Burke. And just sends
instantly
the dog.
dropping to the ground and like, oh, dog, my best friend in the whole world.
Spider takes several steps back.
I'm just definitely on the ground with this dog now, my favorite dog.
Little bit of a nod, then head back out the alleyway.
You think it's safe to go? I don't think they know where we are. I don't think they know that we're at the Millennium Club, but they know that we are together as something.
Best not to go back there tonight.
No.
Fascinating though canines are, do you remember anything in particular about why they had this girl captive? Was it related to our caper, or?
Sir GM, did I overhear anything specific about why?
About what the McCreary boys were after?
Like, why did they take this random girl as well as me?
Oh, you never heard anything about it. She was literally thrown in. She was a waif. Like she looked like she weighed nothing. They threw her into the cell with you. She was in a blind state of panic, of what we in the modern day would probably call post-traumatic stress. Like there was no reasoning with her. There was no talking to her at all. And you tried to get her to calm down. You tried to go, look, now there's two of us. We can figure this out. We can get past. She wasn't hearing any of it. And then the door opened, and this guy but his hand was basically on her scalp. He grabbed at her and dragged her out. That was, of course, what gave you the impetus to go, no, fuck them. Then that's not happening. But you never found out what they wanted from her.
Okay. I don't know anything. I don't know why they put her where I was. I don't know why she was so terrified. They didn't. Mr. Spider, they didn't have to treat her that way. They could have blown a strong wind and she would have fallen over.
Quite often with ruffians such as these, they quite forget their manners when dealing with the fairer sex.
Well, I taught them a few basic ones. Maybe they'll remember. Except for that guy. Did Hound shoot a man? Hound shot
Yes.
a man. Hound shot a man. But not the horses. Okay. Okay. I think Cutter's going to like punch a wall or something. Just for grounding. And
No.
And did you try to block my punch?
No, just pull you back from the wall. No.
Oh. Right. What do we do? What's the next? What do we do?
I'm thinking.
Right.
We cannot assume that these two things are connected, which means that unfortunately, now it makes the streets outside the Millennium Club somewhat unsafe. The route between the club and the Aventine may be being watched. Therefore, we'll return to neither tonight. It must warn the others. We will hope that the McCrearys are more interested in this missing girl than they are with you.
Right.
Unless, Mr. Hound, you have any methods by which you believe we can find her.
You got anything that belonged to her?
I don't think so. I didn't take anything. No.
I can
In which
spend a
case-
good. I can, rather than returning, do a bit of a prowl, but yeah, no direct means of finding her.
No. In which case we must chalk this up to terrible business.
Terrible business.
But it may well be we do more harm than good by searching for her.
Right. All right. So this is.
Did the McCrearys say anything else when they were in the Aventine? Or was it simply their interest in the train caper?
They were more interested in money, but I think a big part of it was being slighted. Some bruise to their ego. You can't get away with this. We'll find you.
Means that they were focused on something else when they brought her in.
She wasn't connected with our heist. Why did they think she was?
I do not believe they think she was. She was certainly curious. All of it is curious. I loathe that we are missing some great chunk of evidence here.
Okay,
What I shall need from you, Count, is a full description of the girl. That way we can begin to ask questions. Only through having the right questions will we have the right answers.
we could always abduct the McCreary boy and coax some answers.
I do not believe that they are of the coaxing type.
No, it would be fun.
We are not in this to soothe our own bruised egos, simply to find the truth.
Might I suggest?
How dare you call me out so blatantly in my own home on the day of my daughter's wedding? I'm so mad at you.
Might I suggest that you are always safe in the Aventine and might find some leads there. I want to do a scene in the Aventine at some point. I know you don't want to go back there tonight, but I would like to do a scene in the Aventine at some point.
Scooching back to the Aventine would be the safest thing to do, but we would have to go a circuitous route.
Well, I imagine Hound can provide a circuitous route. If there's anyone that knows the ass-backwards way of getting to the Aventine, it's going to be him.
Ass backward.
Oh, I think Spider and Cutter, you work on a sketch of the young lady in question. You You didn't see too much of her, actually. You've only ever seen her in the darkness, Cutter, but you think the sketch is reasonable. I think it's reasonably right. So you're in the Aventine. Mr. Hyde doesn't recognize her, but at that point the bar goes quiet, and he turns once to the door and then back to you, and he says, "You'd better go to your normal table."
Thank you.
Mr. McCreary, good to see you again. They shake hands like old friends. Aye, they're just over there. Everyone resumes their drinks. Unescorted, the slight figure of Seamus McCreary walks over to your table, sits down without asking. Well, we've got ourselves a bit of a unfortunate situation, don't we?
It would seem.
Well, when I'd originally planned to come here and see you, you owed me a tax. I think you know why. Well, that's all right. Money's money, you know? We could have worked something out. But I just had to put one of my boys in the morgue. And that puts me in an awkward position, you see. My boys are under my protection, you see. I can't have them being killed without consequences. It's a predicament. I don't want to start a war with some strange masked people, but on the other hand, if I don't take some sort of retribution, there's a young man whose wife and children are now going to go hungry because he can't work. That's not right, is it?
Would be terribly unfair.
So which of you killed him?
I don't believe that that's a fair question.
No, but an honest answer might be to your credit.
Of course. But one of our number was black-bagged in the street. Do you understand the concern we were put under?
My question's a simple one. You don't have to answer it, and I've got no way of compelling you to answer it. Not here. All right? Let's say I gave you a chance to be reasonable, and you declined. That's your choice. You still owe a tax. Let's deal with that first, shall we? You stole from me. And more than a few medical expenses have been accrued this night. In total, I make that a balance owed of about 8 coin. So that's that. Fortunately for you, there are 1 or 2 opportunities I'd like to follow up, but I don't want to use any of my own men for. Take care of that bit of business for me, and we can call the 8 coin even. Then there'll simply be the matter of poor Robert, who can't have an open funeral because half his face was blown away. But we can deal with that another time. Perhaps in the meantime you'll look to your own consciences and tell me exactly who it was murdered my boy.
As you said, we're not interested in starting a war, McCreary.
Mr. McCreary, if you don't mind. I'm a man of respect around here. Obviously you don't respect me, but I need to teach you respect. And by God I shall. $10 coin. So, this job I've got, plus 2 coin, which you'll give me now. I shall walk out of here with heavier pockets than I walked in, unlike many. You can turn down the opportunity for the job. I don't really care how you come up with my 10 coin.
We're thoroughly excited by the opportunity of the job, Mr. McCreary.
I set 1 coin on the table.
Oh, look, we're halfway there already. One more coin in this job, and we're most of the way to even.
You've clearly proven, Mr. McCreary, that you're doing the sums on the back of a cigarette packet in your head. Therefore, numbers are mutable. I am concerned, however, about our number being snatched off the street.
It's a funny thing about numbers and mutability, Mr.
Spider.
Spider. They're not mutable when I say them. I say the tax is 10 coin, and so it is. But I value this particular job at 8, so you know how to make the balance up.
How many would you need for this job?
I don't care how it's done. That's for you to decide.
Spider begins scratching notes in his book. What's the nature of the engagement?
You'll find out after you agree to do it.
Then let's say we agree to do it.
Do you?
Spider glances at Hound and Cutter.
I think Cutter's going to lean forward at this point. Mr. McCreary, you make an interesting point that, well, I might not respect your men. They're not very smart. They're rude. They snatch people off the streets. They throw young women into cellars by their hair with more force than necessary. They are crude and crass, and frankly, I hate them. But you so far have been admirable. I think you have my respect. The crew, not so much, but you yourself. I think my opinion has changed since I first heard your name. So I will give you this. And yes, I agree with Mr. Spider. I think it might be fun to work together. As for your fallen boy, I think the others might learn to keep their hands to themselves when it comes to young women. Maybe they would see their wives and children again.
Ah, I see. You mean to threaten me. An odd form of respect, that. Did you forget the part where my men are under my protection? They put their hands where I allow them to.
Oh, so it's you. You said to attack young women in the streets. Is that the kind of person you are? Because now my respect is going back down, I think. Mr. Spider, I think I'm going to leave this decision in your hands because I don't think I can sit here for much longer.
Thank you, Mr. Cutter.
You're talking your way into an early grave.
Mr.
There's those
McCreary.
threats again.
Mr. McCreary. As you well know, respect is earned. Mr. Cutter was harmed by your men. Mr. Cutter witnessed your men performing terrible deeds. His conscience moved him to act. But we are a consortium. We wish for peace with you.
I don't think you wish anything with me at all, Mr. Spider, or you'd have paid your tax on time. Or you'd have come to me to ask permission before stealing from my turf. I think the only reason that you're willing to talk to me now is because I've made it impossible for you not to. And I've been happy to ignore your presence in my territory up until now, because it hasn't cost me anything for an old shopkeeper to be killed, or a mad doctor. But when you start encroaching on my business, God, I have to take a direct hand in. And before you mention yet again the treatment that poor Mr. Cutter has endured tonight, let me remind you that the balance of this transaction is still very much in my favor.
Very well. Mr. Spider's going to reach into his wallet for the rest of the coin, lay it on the table. We look forward to hearing from you then, Mr. McCreary.
Oh, is that an agreement then?
I am looking forward to working with you.
Oh, that's very clever. Do you agree to do this job for me?
Yes, I thought I was abundantly clear, Mr. McCreary. Accept your terms.
I've been living in London long enough to know what the English sound like when they think they're being clever, but yes. Good. 2 nights from now, one of my men will come meet you here and give you your instructions. Refuse or do not complete the job within 1 week, and we are at war.
You wouldn't want that.
Blood must still be paid out with blood. We haven't heard the end of this matter. But let's dispense with the crude matter of the money first, and then we can make our reckoning at a later date. Do try to remember which one of you killed my man. That will help things go more smoothly. I'm always reasonable when people treat me reasonably, mistress. Always. Well, the 3 of you could probably use a drink. Thanks for your contribution to the community fund. I'll be seeing you. Thank you, Edward. Good to see you as always. And he walks out.
Hound stays sitting until he is out the door, then stands, takes a step away from the table and turns his back to the table, shoulders hunching slightly, fists clenched at his sides, just a very sudden step away.
Are you attacking? Because I'm with you. Are we killing this man?
No, he's not pursued. Maybe that's like Cutter's reaction. Like
Murder.
When Hound stands up sharply, Cutter's like, "Oh yeah." But he doesn't.
Do it. Let's have him.
He doesn't pursue. He's actually stepping essentially further into the Aventine, away from the door, but also away from the table for a second.
Butter gets Mr. Spider's hand on his forearm. Has something vexed you, Mr. Hound?
He doesn't fully look over his shoulder. It's like a sliver of an eye between high collar and wide-brimmed hat. Why didn't you tell him it was me?
Wasn't for me to say, Mr. Hound.
We're a team, aren't we? If one of us did it, then all of us did it.
I make it my business not to give information to my enemies unless it is necessary. Your weapons are guns, as much as Cutter's weapons are his fists. My weapon is knowledge, and I wield it like a surgeon's blade.
He turns forwards again, so his face can't be seen. Seems to spend a moment just kind of breathing hard to collect himself. I can tell you truthfully, gentlemen, that I have never in my life been in a position where someone would have done that for me. So I hope you can excuse the dramatics as I try to come to terms with this as a realization.
Mr. Spider glances from Mr. Hound and Mr. Cutter's selves, faces, making a very pointed comment that contextually references, I think, both of their heritages, and says, neither of you need me to explain to you about terrible imbalances of power. We are in a difficult situation here, one that I am not accustomed to. But Mr. Cutter is quite correct. We are compatriots. And just as assuredly as in a skirmish, I can rely on both of you for my protection. On these streets, I will do whatever I can to shield you both from harm.
There's another clear kind of inhalation. And then when he turns back, the face is business as usual. Maybe a slight smile. He sits down. His body language doesn't even betray any sort of weakness. It's like a whole fresh new hound has walked into the building. Whoever that person was exists in that corner. He sits himself down, says, "Understood."
It's nice to be in the Gentlemen Strangers, isn't it, Burke?
I think Mr. Hyde will come over with a tray of something strong.
Thanking you.
Mr. Hyde, you truly are the finest landlord in all of London.
On the house, gentlemen, on the house. Enjoy your evening. And he just walks off.
As Mr. Spider takes his drink, there is just the ever so slightest tremor from his shoulder to his fingertips that he masks by setting his drink down firmly on the table. It's imperceptible, but he shrugs it off. The Gentlemen Strangers.
Gentlemen Strangers.
Peace in our time.
But we get to kill McCreary, right? That's something we get to do soon, later, at some point.
Papa.
Yes.
Peace.
Fine. I don't know.
Hound raises the glass in a way so that he can obscure Spider from immediate view and gives Cutter a nod.
Well, congratulations! You have completed the caper of the Mercer Street Rescue. Let's deal with the aftermath, shall we? You didn't make any coin doing this. You have
No, indeed.
No, but you have no. You've negatively earned coin, but that's okay. You have earned some reputation with it. I don't think you can presently earn reputation. I think your reputation meter is full. It is now full. I've just filled it. So your reputation meter is full. Until you have 8 coin of your own, you cannot increase your tier. But as soon as you have 8 coin, you can increase your tier. You are now at faction status -2 with the McCreary outfit, which means they will actively seek to frustrate your efforts and do you harm if they can, but they're not at outright war, which would be -3.
What's
Well, they
-1 between friends?
War is very bad because they're at least a tier 4 or 5 organization and you're a tier 0 organization. So they would just roll over you.
So just before we press on, next adventure we get some cash, more cash.
The
Different
next,
cash.
the next adventure will be whatever job it is McCreary has in mind for you,
Cash.
which won't get you any cash because it'll all go to him. Or you can try and skim off the top.
No.
Ooh,
No.
good idea.
No. Peace in our time. Peace in our time.
In which
Yes,
case,
right,
maybe
piece it up,
another lesson. So
I
good.
mean, maybe if he had just been like, "Hey, you owe me some money," and instead of
Peace
kidnapping me,
in our time. Gentlemen strangers, I beg of you.
Know when to play your hand and when not to, I think, is the answer. I have absolutely no objection to you taking down McCreary. I think it'd be really exciting. He's not actually a supernatural threat, but if you want to take down McCreary, that is a direction we can take the story.
I just want to kill him. That's all.
We'll put it on the list.
Okay, put it
He's
on
on
the
enemy's
list.
list.
It's a long
He's
term
not.
list.
He's not on Mr. Hound's "Don't Kill This Person" list, so fair game.
You left a body behind.
Nah.
So I'm going to give
Nah.
you 3 heat.
Nah. I didn't do it. I didn't leave a calling card. No one knows.
You assaulted a good many people in a public setting. I'm actually going to give you 4 heat because it was not a.
They assaulted me.
Well,
We
Someone's
showed
getting
up
this
all
confused.
cape
Yeah, so
and
the-
flourish.
So the McCreary's character sheet will also gain 1 heat that they'll probably sell off.
Hound and Spider, have you removed a coin each from your inventories?
We have. I have. I can't speak for Izzy.
Oh, I had a
actually.
coin. I could have put it. I was never going to give him any money.
Yeah, I
after
know.
what he did. No,
I
he
know,
would have
babe.
to
Don't
kill
worry.
me. He would have
So
killed me.
let's deal with some experience first. Oh no, we shouldn't deal with it. We should deal with downtime first, shouldn't we? Good news. You did not offend McCreary enough that he has declared all-out war on you, which means you do still have both downtime actions available.
But we did offend him a little tiny bit, right? Like a tiny bit.
Yeah.
He's got pretty thick skin.
I mean,
You
have to
didn't
try harder.
You didn't personally offend. He's hard to personally offend, but you can organizationally offend him. Like you can impugn his honor. Like his feelings won't be. You're unlikely to hurt Seamus McCreary's feelings.
I want to hurt his feet. I want this man to cry.
I would like to officially not be on any more missions with Cutter.
He has a wife and 3 daughters. I'm sure if you kill one of them, he'll be very.
Oh,
Izzy, we came out of an adventure that was partially me and you solo, and you were vowing not to. It's not me. You're vowing not to go on a mission with again. Yay!
Yay! So downtime actions. Who wants to start? Mr. Spider, why don't you start us
Why
off?
not? Tell me what's up. What's the crack?
You tell me.
So I know that Mr. Spider really wants to level up his prowess because I feel now he is woefully underleveled when it comes to violence.
Okay. So you do some prowess training. Tick 2 prowess experience.
Boom, prowess experience. Oh my god, I'm staring. Hang on, I'm sure I got a notch on Weller's books. I'm sure I've got a notch on that.
You do, but I'm recording it on the crew sheet, aren't I?
Oh yeah, you are.
You're halfway to the first circle of that. Yep.
I think I would like. What else can I do in downtime? Remind me.
get rid of stress. Heal yourself.
You can get rid of stress, get rid of heat, heal yourself. You can engage vices, getting rid of stress. You can acquire an asset.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a go at Weller's books because that's important to Spider.
Okay.
What do I roll for that study? Yeah.
You can study normally, yeah.
Controlled, normal.
Yeah.
And I can't spend anything on downtime actions.
You can do a devil's bargain.
No, I don't want to bargain away my precious books.
Hey, that's a 5.
Suggest that.
That's a 5. Fantastic. Let me adjust that. So it's one more segment on Weller's Bank.
And I think I'm going to start spending cash because I have cash and I've had some pretty sluggish downtimes. It's 1 coin per action, yeah?
It's one coin can either increase the effect of an action, so you could turn that 5 into a 6 and get another segment on the thing, or you can spend a coin to get another action.
So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend 1 of my coins No, I'm going to spend one of the crew coins, and I'm going to reduce our heat because we have a lot of it, and I'm not keen on that.
Yeah, we're not ready for that.
So I'm spending one from. No, I accidentally spent all of our coin. I didn't mean to do that. And reduce our heat. I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna do it using my skills.
Okay. Now I have to look that up. Hold on.
I apologize. I feel like
It's usually something like help the police to forget something.
yes, I think that what Spider is going to be doing is tapping into his police contacts and more like seeing where they're asking questions about and ensuring that things are in place to obfuscate.
So say what you do to reduce the heat level of your crew and make an action roll. Maybe you consort with a friend who's a cop. Maybe you command the fear of the local citizens. They're afraid to snitch, that kind of thing.
I think it's more he is consorting for information about the Camden area to try and figure out what the with his police contacts to try and figure out what is known, what is unknown, what's suspicious, what's not suspicious, so that he can ensure to obfuscate the paths of the gentlemen strangers.
Okay, so roll whatever action that is. I'm going to reduce the effect of this roll because you're just solidly going up against McCreary here.
Yeah.
McCreary is not interested in people forgetting about you right now.
Still a 5.
At 5,
doesn't do great, but it does something.
A 5 would normally remove 2 heat. I'm going to remove 1 heat.
What?
So reduce effect because McCreary is not. You fundamentally bump up against the fact that McCreary has administrative powers as part of the city.
And you know what? I'm going to spend one of my own coin.
Did you remove the heat or shall I?
I did not remove the heat.
I have done so.
I'm going to spend one of my own coin because I've just realised I can get if I do prowess again, I can level up in prowess.
No, I think during one downtime you can only level up the same thing once.
Then you know what? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to level up something else.
Isn't inside we do 2 now? Did we agree on that as our team stuff?
Oh yeah, I think no one came up with any other ideas.
I liked your idea. I thought I said that.
So I think you've got a vault, and then was it insight training?
Yeah.
I've given you those things.
In which case, I'm going to take advantage of that insight training, which I think is, Mr. Spider. Oh, Mr. Spider, almost certainly just sorting out the new stuff that we have because he needs to calm himself by doing fun tasks that he likes, and he likes being surrounded by information and books. I like the idea that part of that is that where he had his little desk with Weller's books, he's actively started to make that area a bit nicer in the video game of this, Mr. Spider's study area has actually become a little bit more pleasant, a little bit more Dorian's study from Dragon Age.
Lovely. Anything else?
No, that's fine. I've spent a lot of money today on this.
Mr. Hound.
Remind me how many actions do we have?
You have 2 actions and you can spend coin for more or reputation for more.
I alas have given all my coin to Seamus, or whatever his name was.
Yes, Seamus.
Good. I thought I was being incredibly rich.
His name to you is Mr. McCreary.
And it's Seamus. I am going to. I need healing and stress relief. I think above anything. I would love to train, but I've got all this stress and I've got all this healing that I need to do.
Yeah.
So I might go and see, first and foremost, to deal with the healing, I'll go and see Dr. Richmond of the university to once again.
That will cost you a coin, I believe.
Oh dang! I don't have any coin.
Well, the crew has coin. I don't think anyone would resent you taking. Well, no one questioned Izzy just stealing a coin.
I was lowering our team heat, but no. If you need to heal, bro, get yourself some coin from the vaults.
I will do that. I'm gonna go to these vaults. I'm gonna get myself a coin.
And then roll a die.
Which die do I roll again?
One single die. You can click. You click on the healing where it says healing.
Ah, wonderful. Boop. Number of die. 1. Boop. 4.
4. That means that you heal 2 segments. So congratulations.
I did it.
You have done it. You have managed to heal. That reduces all of your harm by 1 level.
Cool. There's broken ribs. That was at 1. There's dislocated shoulder. That was at 1. So I finally get my shoulder put back in place.
Yeah.
There's one curious note. I have an X in my harm too.
Yeah. What's that?
I think that was a quick note of I've taken a harm and I need to discuss what that is.
Right.
I know that we came to a conclusion and then I completely forgot about it, which might have been I've been rolling slightly overpoweredly all session.
When did you take that harm?
It would have been the last time that we did it, so it would have been in the train heist.
Yeah.
I cannot fully recall. Like, that's got to be it. So if anyone can remember what happened in the train heist.
Are you sure you didn't just randomly type an X in a box?
I might well have done.
I'm going to say if I can't remember what it is, just remove it.
Cool. I will be more attentive on that in the future. Cool. So I'm fully bloody healed.
You are. Now you'd like to remove some stress. We're going to do some more communing.
Well, yes. Because remind me what the obligation vice is.
The obligation vice is you have a duty that you must perform. It could be an official duty like a job. It could be something like there's a neighborhood that you watch over. The idea is this comes from the fact that you have a modified vigilante playbook. So it's usually you have a community you look after in some way.
I imagine
what it really means. What it really means is it's something that if this personal group of people needs your help, you have to do. Like you feel morally compelled to do it. So whatever you think Mr. Hound would be affected by in that way.
Well, he's originally an orphan, and so I rather imagine, because Hound's done some pretty grisly stuff lately, and literally one of the only saving graces that we have for him on screen is that he has a dog. So I think we actually need a more tropey pat the dog moment, but sans the dog, and I imagine this will be a good opportunity if Hound is beholden to the orphanage that he attends. And that is in like a fairly bad district in terms of maintenance, in terms of potential violence, harm. He will probably wander on down to that orphanage, as a returning, like this is him as Anwar. This is him devoid of mask, and so he probably just shows up there every now and again and offers his services, whatever they may need.
Okay, fantastic. Then roll your resolve.
Oh, we all love Mr. Hound suddenly.
Yeah.
Goes with his doggo to see the kids, and they're all so excited. They're like,
so I have no resolve. I chose 1 die.
You have 0.
Yeah, I do. Forgive me.
How dare you attempt to con me out of a die?
And more importantly, con the children.
And the children.
Yeah, so I will roll again with no die.
I can't believe I don't think I'm going to let you get away with that. I'm not letting you turn a 3 into a 5. What I was going to say before you jumped the gun was we'll roll 1 die again and we'll take the lowest. Well, okay, Mr. Kilburn. Well, you've rolled a 3. Jesus, the audacity. My friends in the audience, you wouldn't believe the audacity of this man. All right,
some of you, a few die over here.
Some of you actually will believe the audacity of this man. It's okay, fine. So you relieve 3 stress.
Hey,
my God, I'm astonished.
Huh?
What?
What word is he saying? Probably nothing nice.
Cute orphan urchins.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want me to go into detail of what that is?
You don't need. You can. You're absolutely welcome to. You
Yeah,
don't.
what did you do? I want to help the children.
I
We've
think
had
we
a
all-
rough day.
We want
all
to
like
hear
know
about
what
the
it is you're
happy
doing
kids.
to help the orphanage. Yes.
'Cause I imagine this is. Remember, this man's a grave robber, so like, don't fall
Yeah.
too much in love with him. But I imagine this is like swinging by during the day, and it turns out that they are understaffed. That one of the key matrons of this orphanage needs to go out on some errands. It means that absolutely no one is able to manage the children, of which there's probably around 7. Too young to go into a workhouse as of yet. So varying degrees of competence when it comes to the English language. But Hound has the advantages of a dog, and he could put on various different voices. And so what he will likely do is let some of them play with the dog, and it's fetch. He's very good at fetch, whilst probably recounting some story or another, complete with voices and sound effects.
Yes.
And he has children enthralled.
Does he borrow heavily on his friends in the Gentleman Strangers? So we see him doing impressions of the Gentleman Strangers, but in like fantastical scenarios.
Yes, I think that is too good not to do. He outs us as all gentlemen strangers to a generation of children that will grow up to be our nemesis.
Wonderful. Okay, Mr. Cutter.
Okay, so I'm bleeding.
You are bleeding and you have lots of stress. Yeah.
What's this? It's an episode of the Gentleman Strangers, and Mr. Cutter is bleeding at the end of it.
Look, I wanted to try a fun new character that punches things, and it turns out I don't love it as much as I thought I would.
We love
Well,
him.
kick back.
I'm
Don't
always in
change.
pain. I'm always in pain, and I'm always scared. So,
Yeah, but we love Mr. Cutter. He great.
first I would like to try to heal my bleeding.
Okay, so pay the doctor a coin and roll a die.
Good thing I have coin. Now I don't. I hit this healing clock, and then it says number of dice 0. Is that what I do? I just
change it
no.
to-
I do get to +1 because I
Yeah,
took
yeah.
that new fun feat. So that's.
Oh, did you?
cool.
What did you take?
Vigorous.
Then you should be rolling a 2.
Wait, put number of dice 2.
Yep.
So that's a 4.
That's a 4. So you heal 2 segments.
Oh man, I'm still bleeding. Okay, well that's chill.
You can spend coin to upgrade that result.
Well, I don't have any more coin. It's only light cuts and bleeding.
I mean, you can probably spend crew coin. There's still crew coin.
How many crew coin is there? I can't see it.
You've still got 3 crew coin, I believe.
Can I spend a coin to stop bleeding?
We would love you to have all of your blood in your body.
Yeah, blood.
Okay.
Blood is best in the body. So yeah, you heal. So everything drops down 1. Basically, what I would say is keep light cut and get rid of bleeding and sprained ankle.
Okay, cool.
I've
thanks.
spent the coin.
Sorry, I'll get some more. Okay. And then second, I think I've had enough fighting for one day, so I would like to relieve my stress by doing my obligation and
Working the day job, doing some loading at the docks, kind of thing.
Yeah, I am going to just, the world is a lot scarier than I maybe thought.
Okay, then roll your insight.
Okay. Oh, geez, that's my worst one. Okay, so it's just insight and I take the lower? Is that how this works?
No, because you've got 1 die. No, Mr. Hound has 0 dice for some reason we can't fathom.
So I have 1 in there, so I just roll it. Do I have to add 1 or just?
No, you just if you click it, should you click on it, should roll it.
So then, okay.
4, so you relieve 4 stress.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, very
I feel
good, very nice. Yeah,
by having a whole time with my family, keeping the business afloat, knowing that one day McCreary will be in the ground. Oh, you know what? And as Cutter's loading something onto a pallet, thinks maybe we could haunt him with ghosts somehow. Maybe there's something in that vault that we can put in his house. Maybe we can drive him mad. He deserves it. I can't believe.
What has he done to deserve this vitriol?
Look, he kidnapped me instead of being like, hey, you owe me money. I don't like him. So now I'm going to haunt him with ghosts.
He's a bad guy, but like...
He deserves to be haunted with ghosts. And maybe once Cutter realizes Mr. Hound has been communing with actual Satan, they can get together on that and have a mission to haunt McCreary into an early grave.
I
Just
would
the spider
absolutely love that.
Does not approve. -2.
Don't tell Spider.
Let's deal with some experience points first. We should do the crew experience first of all. Mark XP for the following. Did you interfere with supernatural operations or destroy a monster?
No.
Did you contend with challenges with recurrent station? Yes, you did. I can say that definitively. Did you bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one?
I mean, a worse one.
We developed the reputation. These
fuckos.
Yeah. I mean, did you develop a new reputation? Yeah, the McCrearys think you're mad murderers, so...
Only one of us is a mad murderer.
It's just me.
You didn't give one person over, so they think the whole crew's just assassins.
Yeah.
Well,
Luke, as we well know, in other tabletop games I've been in, I was in that conversation. I was the de facto group leader in a situation where one of my number had done a completely over the top murder, and I didn't out them, and it's a way Isra all over again. And I'm like, hi, yeah, this is my friend who's a murderer. At least I'm not trying to marry Hound.
Did you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the gentleman's strangers?
No.
We were a bit mysterious because who would do such a bonkers
Well, that's your reputation.
Yeah.
That's just us.
I mean, our essential nature is we do violent things violently, but most of the time it's like vampires rather than...
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Spider, then let's do your individual experience. Did you roll in desperate actions?
No.
No, okay. Did you address a challenge with calculation or conspiracy?
I think I did.
Yeah,
but...
I think so too. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Yes.
I think so through the whole thing with McCreary at the end, at least.
And then like trying to basically relay to the gentleman strangers, I'm white and your people have been fucked up a lot, but we're all bros.
I think that constitutes doing it multiple times. You were very good with McCreary, and you were very good with us afterwards.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree. I think you should mark 2 for that. Not that I have to agree, but I happen to.
Does he get points for stopping me from throwing a dagger into McCreary's skull?
There is also that, yes. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas?
Yes.
I tried to play up my trauma as best I could and make rash decisions based on the
I
haunting
agree.
pain.
Yeah, you dealt with it. You cashed in your trauma to your cost. You've given yourself an extra experience point.
Have I leveled up?
Yeah, but you'd start with 0 then.
Yeah,
you're 1 experience point away. Then you leveled up. That's.
No, so I leveled up to here, and then you said 2 experience points.
Oh, you hadn't given yourself 1 already. My apologies.
I level up, and then that's the one from Vice Traumas.
Contrary to rumors, I understand how arithmetic works. And the fact that I couldn't understand time zones, I do understand how arithmetic works, but I thought you'd already done it. Great, so you've upgraded, so you can get a special ability.
I'm
I
gonna do that while the others are talking.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm sure we'd love to know, Mr. Hound. Let's experience you, shall we? Did you roll any desperate actions this time?
Nope.
Did you address a challenge with tracking or violence?
I did multiple times, I would say.
Yes, you did. You can have 2 experience points for that. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I would like to think so. If the others agree, then I'm happy to mark that. I think Hound showed a little bit of vulnerability, and there's been...
Yes, I liked that. I thought that was a nice little scene when you realised they were that loyal, even though they don't know you they don't even know your name. That's very nice. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during this session?
I have no traumas and nothing really from my vice, so
Okay.
I'd be inclined to say no.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. Almost there then, Mr. Cutter.
Hi,
Did you
Kevin.
mark your experience? You did roll a desperate action. Have you already marked that?
Where do I mark that?
Playbook advancement.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
That's what I've been doing, and now I'm reading it fully, and that's not what it says, but that's what I've been doing the whole time.
Do you mean that you have to mark it in the track? I've always said you have the option of marking it either in the track or in your character.
Because if I mark that in the track, then I level up prowess, and then I get to something.
Then level up prowess. That's fine. Like you have that right according to the rules.
So I put 1 dot somewhere, right?
Yep, that's right.
More wreck, no. Sprout, no. Wreck, no. Oh, decision for later. Keep going.
Make sure you remember to make the decision because you've emptied your experience track. I don't want you to miss out on an action dot.
I'm gonna do it in wreck because I'm reckless and a dumbass. So let's go. Keep going.
Okay. You addressed a challenge with violence or coercion. I think that is fair to say. Yes.
Yes.
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely think so. Not just the inciting incident, which is more my choice than yours, but the way you responded to McCreary in person. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session?
Oh my God, yes. This was terrible. You are hurting me, Luke, as a person.
Okay. I don't mean to make your life actually worse.
Oh no. It's great.
Some
this
drama is good.
I'm sweating. Can you see? Oh, I don't need to.
Yeah, I think
armpits. Sorry.
The fact that you've taken the paranoid trauma and the fact that you've got a very powerful gang boss breathing down the back of your neck probably is a thing.
I'm gonna break.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean everyone isn't out to get you.
That's absolutely true. So, Mr. Spider, have you decided what special ability you're going to get? It looks like you have.
Drum roll. I have taken too many windows. Calculating. Due to your careful planning during downtime, you may give yourself or another crew member +1 downtime action.
Oh, very.
It won't help us so much during scores, but I feel like we have a lot of balls in the air, and Mr. Spider wants to help us with our balls.
Then refund a coin because you probably would have done that this downtime. Can I ask why you have 2 coin in your stash? What's that from?
From
Where'd mine go? I had 2 when we did the big old one, and we had to split it out from the rest of us because there wasn't enough in the vault.
So you put it in your stash. Yeah, fair enough. I wonder what that was about.
Yeah, later. Did you take it away?
I haven't taken anything away.
Something got clicked away from me.
Look, it might have been you.
It was probably me.
These characters are so many. Everything on this character sheet is clickable. It's ridiculous. Okay, fantastic.
This has been a successful day for Mr. Spider, and I feel good about how I spidered.
Yes, I think you should all feel good about how you lived up to your playbooks. That was great. It was good. The system is interesting. You can run a session with 2 or 3 people, and that's pretty good.
Especially if they're Hound and Spider, who are a weird team, but a good team.
Now, the next session in 2 weeks' time, which will be part of the main story of this, will be doing whatever score it is that Mr. McCreary wants you to do so that you can square most of your debt with him. I would like, and I don't know who for sure is available, but next Sunday is All Saints Day, which is a spooky time of year, and I'd like to do a bonus extra spooky episode of Gentleman Strange next Sunday. Audience, look out for announcements on Discord and Twitter about that, because I don't actually know who I've got for that, if anyone. If I don't have anyone for it, we won't do it. We might just do Among Trash instead. Hopefully we'll be doing Among Trash on Tuesday. If we can get enough people together, which would be fantastic. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching and chatting. Is he saying something?
I'm going to do the patrons.
I'm not there yet.
I know. I remembered, and then I remembered to get the tab open. It wasn't.
Thank you so much for watching and chatting and hanging out and all that. We love you and appreciate you as always. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll see some of you on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for some Among Trash. And next Sunday, if there is a game of anything next Sunday, Britain and America will once again agree what time it is. So I'd be relying on my inability to comprehend negative numbers next time. No one corrected me, by the way.
I didn't know.
It was only because Bree was like, "Oh no, it's this time. Sorry, that's my fault." That I went, "I don't think that is Bree's fault. I think that's my fault."
I just assume everything's always my fault.
No, this wasn't. I forgot that. I forgot how things work. I hate the idea of daylight savings when they finally abolish that motherfucker, which I think they're planning on doing in a couple of years' time, at least in Europe. I will be very, very happy because it's a load of nonsense.
An extra hour sleep in the autumn.
But then it costs us. The future you gets a less.
Yeah, but future me doesn't matter.
Well, then it's over to Izzy to do the trash bag. Thanks for the Patreons. But before she does that, I just want to say, patrons, keep an eye on stuff. We've got some big shit. And we're going to do some big shit just as soon as we can find a moment to actually decide on some of the big shit ourselves. But once we've done that, you will know about it and you will love it. You will be commanded to love it.
You're going to love me.
Love me, yes.
Yeah, as Sable said, some very exciting things are happening. Now's the time to plug our various social medias. If you do not already follow us on Twitter or Discord or Patreon, those are the 3 things you can do. We support our patrons. No, our patrons support us, but we're happy with our patrons completely. But furthermore, if you are not a patron and you don't intend to be, which is completely legit, the way that you can really brighten our days is that small channels like ours thrive on word of mouth. So tell people the show, share the show with your friends if you think they'll enjoy it. If you think they won't enjoy it, don't. But like, talk to them about it. Maybe all it takes is one friend going, "Hey, listen to me." I've just realized as well that I flipped my camera during the break, and I'm sorry if that has distressed anyone. I was trying to do my eyebrows, and it was a whole thing. Anyway, our patrons are an amazing bunch of guys, gals, both and neither, and with their help and support, we are able to not only produce this stellar content, but also to fold them in the stuff we do among trash, upcoming games and other such things. So go over to patreon.com/itucrew. There will also be some exciting news coming soon about podcasts, but that's down the line because other things are happening. In the meantime, thank you for appreciating my hair, and trash bags in the chat, please, for these exceptional individuals: Louis Tokoeka, Photosynthetic, Eligos Alexander, Michael Kreese, Andre Cherepnin, Lucas Justinian, Joe, Diego de los Reyes, Lou Sutcliffe, Suki, Henry Prestige, Caffeine Kitty, Hobbs 138, Mike Kilburn, which I said correctly today because we had a great camaraderie on the game. But in future I'm watching you, Kilburn. Amy C, James Malloy, Mike Fielding, Michael Bowman, everybody's favoritely named member of the trash fam, Helena Handbasket. But today, for this very special day, I have saved the best for last, as we all wish a tremendously joyous and happy birthday to our trash patron, Liz Murphy. And now we're all going to sing happy birthday to Liz, which is my favourite thing to do. If you hate discordant music, I beg of you to mute now. Everybody on 3. 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Liz.
Happy birthday to you.
Liz, very few people could possibly wish you a happy birthday than I wish you, and my gift to you is I didn't join in on that cacophony.
I need everyone to know that discordant happy birthdays via Zoom is perhaps my favourite thing in the whole world.
Yeah, no, I'm not participating in this travesty.
It's on purpose. Okay, it's on purpose. We sing badly on purpose as a sign of love, and so you have to join it. I studied opera in college. Like, I can sing, but I will not for happy birthday.
But you know that, Your Honor, it was on purpose is not a defense against a murder charge, right?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that no one understands. It's not about the discordant singing. It's about how out of time everyone is because of Zoom. And for my birthday in April, the Iskander crew sang me happy birthday via Zoom, and it was the best thing in the
As far as I know, everyone was in tune, but that's not the tune isn't the problem. It's the time that's the problem.
So good.
Can't sing happy birthday in a round
Beautiful.
word for word.
And so
It's an Aurora Boreas. It's like you sing and you hear someone else, and that knocks you out of sync while you're knocking them out of sync, and it just melts.
You should have joined. That's my point. You should
want
have.
you to know, Liz, that your birthday has brought me this much joy. So, thank you so much for joining us, we the Gentlemen Strangers, for this week's adventure. And we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday for some Among Trash. Maybe Liz will even be there, and that will be exciting. Maybe we can get the whole gang to sing happy birthday.
10 people.
10 people.
Oh no, no, no.
That's
Yes.
the dream.
That's what
I will
want.
hack the game and set the kill cooldown to 0 and kill everyone.
Should we go?
Well,
Finish the song before that happens. Anyway, before my cheeks legit start hurting, lots of love, everyone. Thank you for joining us. See you on Tuesday.